Meteorologists with the National Weather Service confirm a tornado touched down this morning near Sweetwater. It was an EF0 with a maximum wind speed of 85 miles per hour. That storm had a 2-mile track and was around 200 yards wide.
You were seeing the aerial evidence there. The tornado touched down in the Luttrell area along the Loudon and Monroe County lines. 5 people were hurt during the storm, 4 of them in a camper that flipped over, and another person was in another camper at a different location. The National Weather Service saying that camper also rolled over in the storm. And again, this is near Sweetwater.
We have team coverage for you tonight from that Sweetwater community. 10 News reporters Olivia Daig and Lauren Lovett have been there since this morning. They're talking to people impacted and asking the National Weather Service why this storm did not get a tornado warning. We will be checking in with them in just a few minutes.
First, let's check in with meteorologist Cassie Nall and Brittany Bailey, also on the ground near the damage.
John and Robin, thank you so much. Yes, we are in the Luttrell community, as you've been mentioning, right along the Monroe and Loudon County line. Right now, the sun is shining, the wind is blowing, and you may be able to hear behind us those chainsaws are going because everyone is sort of in cleanup mode after that EF0 tornado came through earlier today.
Yes, it struck this area at around 8:30 this morning, or just after that. And what you heard Robin mention is that there was no warning issued at the time that ended up happening through here. This was not an individual supercell. It was within a line of thunderstorms that was coming through. And the rotation on the radar was unusually weak to be able to actually produce a tornado. And so that's kind of what made the Weather Service kind of question whether or not they thought the cell would actually end up producing a tornado at that time. Now, it should be mentioned that this area is about 72 miles from the radar, so that adds a little bit of question into things as well. And they were scanning about 5,800 feet up into that storm as well. There was no problem with the dissemination of the information. I know the National Weather Service in Morristown has been undergoing a software upgrade during the week, and the National Weather Service office in Nashville has been handling the dissemination of the products. That's not what happened today. There were 2 forecasters in Morristown and 2 forecasters in Nashville all watching the radar this morning, and all 4 meteorologists were in agreement that they didn't think the cell could do what it did today, which is why no warning was issued in this case. Unfortunately, it did end up causing damage down in this area, and folks are down here starting that cleanup process. As you heard, 5 people were injured when this storm came through.
Yeah, speaking of that damage, very quickly, I want to show you something. I want to hand this to you, Cassie. Okay. We're up in sort of what was a play area. Take a look at this. This used to be the top of a very large pumpkin.
Very big pumpkin.
The pumpkin is nowhere nearby, but only the top remains here.
The owners say it's over in the field over there, and it's large enough for you to walk in. So that gives you some perspective on this giant stalk that you just saw.
Well, for more on the damage and for more on what the National Weather Service did here today, we are going to bring in reporter Lauren Lovett. And Lauren, you got a chance to talk with the meteorologist today.
That's right. I was here as we saw a bunch of emergency service vehicles come in and out of the area. And I also got to speak with Anthony Cavalucci with the National Weather Service as he came out here to assess what he's calling a sneaky storm, that EF0 tornado. He says those are not common but can happen. He came out to start surveying late this morning, early afternoon, and determined it was an EF0. He says the damage to buildings, size of the trees knocked over, and other factors go into that determination. And we were originally expecting an update from NWS around 4 this afternoon, but he says the time of day was perfect to get out and assess the area quickly.
Oftentimes we get late afternoon or evening thunderstorms that delays our time out here. So if it's dark, I can't see everything I need to see, so I need to wait. So this was kind of a unique opportunity to get out here shortly after the damage occurred.
He says there was no tornado warning as that was not a typical storm, but after they did see it on the radar, they were able to get a warning out to for the storm as it continued to move through Greenback and into Blount County.
All right, Lauren, thank you so much. And we want to continue our team coverage now. 10 News reporter Olivia Daig has been out in this community all day long, getting a first-hand look at that damage. Olivia, what have you seen today?
Hey, Brittany, we have seen a lot of damaged structures, including this Airbnb behind me that has now a tarp over it to prevent some of that rain from getting everything all wet. We've also seen downed trees, downed power lines, and damaged cars. But today, I spoke with one family who says this community will always come together. I spoke to a woman named Kristen. She is working at the Sweetwater Hospital, and she went to work like normal, and her husband frantically called her a couple of times, and she rushed home and saw that her home was damaged. The carport that they had recently constructed moved about 50 feet down into the yard, and there's a tree that's completely blocking their driveway. Other than that, they are okay, but they say the really important thing is that these neighbors are checking in on each other and coming together in this storm.
And we're just really thankful that we live where we live, and we're very thankful for everybody out here. And I have no doubt that everybody's about to show up and show out.
Kristen also told me that she and her family were going to go check in with the Red Cross because they are offering some assistance, including setting people up with hotel rooms. She says right now the big issue, they do have power, but they don't have water. So again, this is going to be a cleanup effort. We're going to continue to check in on these families as they are navigating this damage, because some of these people have lost their homes. And Brittany, I'm going to send things back to you. You are just over across the street, but we are still seeing the damage, the cleanup. I'm hearing those chainsaws. People are already getting to work.
That is so right, Olivia. Yes, you can hear the same chainsaws we have been hearing. And again, we are up at this vantage point where you can see a lot of that damage in the path that Cassie was describing earlier today. Earlier today, also, we saw that the rain came through here once again. We had some dark clouds, but now they've cleared and we have some blue skies, a lot of wind, but also some sunshine. So speaking of that, we want to check in on our forecast and send things back to the studio with Chief Meteorologist Todd Howell.
All right, Brittany Bailey, thank you so much. I know it seems like y'all have experienced all four seasons just in the last couple of hours. The rain, the sun, and then, the raincoats, etc. You know what? The sights and sounds of post-tornado coverage, the sights, the insulation of the trees, that's a giveaway a lot of times, and the sounds, the chainsaws after as folks starting to clean up. So 5 injured, and hopefully they are going to be healed very quickly. As we already talked about, an EF0 tornado, max winds 85 miles per hour. It was very brief. This was a brief spin up. It was on the ground quickly, and then just like that, it lifted quickly. Only a path length of 2 miles and width of 200 yards. All right.